Good evening and welcome to the Minions of the Zoo. I'm your host and keeper of the Harry channel, and with me tonight are Minions Serenity Star 13,
Hello.
DrFunctional,
God save the Queen!
and SkepTock.
My name Jose Jimenez.
Jose, you can't fool me. You're Bill Dana. Let's see. So, Functional, how are you doing? How much do you want to share about your miserable life today?
Oh, wow. Well, just to give people a heads up, the reason why I basically haven't been on the show for the last 2 weeks is I had coof. A suspected coof. There was no like testing done. It was just kind of like, yeah, these are what's going on. And due to my pre-existing stuff, it kind of hit me pretty hard physically. So I've just kind of been out of sorts for a while, but I'm good now. I'm at least doing a lot better. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing. It's like bread lines.
So, Trudeau didn't send the goons to weld you into your apartment or anything?
Sorry.
The Brute Squad. Andre the Giant showed up to my door. No, apparently not. But
The manly spell of brute.
when my other half did, the health department decided to grill her and give her 20 questions on her being sick and everything because she actually took one of the official tests and it would turn positive or whatever. That's so weird. That's so weird. Like, I've had members of my family get cancer or other terminal diagnoses. They never get a call from Health Canada or Health Ontario to say, "Hey, are you okay?" But you catch the coof, and they're like, "Okay, we need to know everything you've done for the last 48 hours. Go." Excuse me.
So, was this mostly
Weird.
contact tracing, or were they going to other stuff?
Other stuff I don't want to get too much into, but it was just the line of questioning, just listening to her answer the questions, I was just kind of a little perplexed and a little weirded out that Big Brother needs to know everything about your comings and goings. Because, I mean, this far
if you
in...
haven't done anything wrong, you have nothing to fear.
Nothing to hide, I know.
Yeah.
I should be a good citizen.
Yes.
These people know what they're doing. These are top people we're talking about.
Top.
Top
Men.
people. Top men. Top people kind.
People comment. It is 2016, right?
Yeah. You have you have a really outstanding government. Sometimes I feel bad about the United States government, and then I think, well,
Yeah, really.
I don't know about that.
mm,
Kind of the opposite. I think about how shitty my government is, and then I go, right, it could be worse. We could be America.
well, we're both making each other feel better about ourselves. And
Yeah, we
that
both
means-
could be Tajikistan.
Yeah, means
we
we all
both could
win.
be Ukraine,
yeah.
Well, you guys practically are at this point. Yeah. And aside from that,
they have more energy than we
watching
do.
Babylon 5, because I know that interests you
Yeah.
to no end, Harry.
Well, did you have you seen Crusade?
Mm-hmm.
What'd you think?
Unfortunately. Which was just sort of like a Lex with a shiny veneer and less penis imagery.
Holy cow! That is savage, dude. Crusade was nowhere near as bad as Lex.
It was pretty bad, though.
It wasn't as bad as Lex. Come
See,
on.
at least when I watch something like B5 with the visuals and everything, I can be like, or I equated this on Shroom's show the other day, that like Star Trek the original series took some imagination to be a part of, to fully enjoy the show, whereas something like TNG came around and they had the technology to show instead of tell, and you didn't really need much of a imagination to sort of sit there and watch what was presented on the screen. And I kind of feel like Crusade suffered from both them trying to push the limits of their Amiga at the time to show, but also try to pull your imagination strings, and I just don't think it connected well. I liked the cast and crew. I mean, it was one of the first appearances of Daniel Kim, who I think is incredible.
Yeah, Gary Cole was good, and even
Gary Cole.
Woodward's son, whose first name I always screw up.
I don't remember.
Son of not Edward Woodward, who was the Equalizer, but his son Shemp. I can't remember the guy's first name. It was like Shemp or Shecky.
Who are you talking
Shlomo.
about, Harry?
Talking about Edward Woodward, the Equalizer.
Peter Woodward?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
It's one of those tricky foreign names.
I know, it's like, Harry?
Okay, it's one of those problems that I have. I am terrible at remembering people's first names.
Peter Woodward, yeah, Galen.
I
He
would
was
have made-
the techno mage.
Galen.
I would have made a great high school athletic coach because
you
I
would.
could just refer to everybody by their last name. You know, Kowalski, get over there. Edwards, go. But remember Kowalski's first name? No, you're just Shemp. Everybody's Shemp.
God.
All
I have a-
restaurants
I
now
have a-
Taco Bell.
I have a really bad problem
Oh,
memorizing people's first
Jesus.
names. I just do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just one of those little weird things about how my brain is kind of messed up. Speaking of messed up brains, how are you doing, Skep? You feeling any better?
I'm feeling better. Thanks for asking. It's it's just a process of recovery. The fluke accident can happen to anybody. I basically had a pretty bad ground fall on Tuesday, and I did the show Tuesday night, and I was thinking I was getting away with murder. I was thinking, for as bad as I got hurt, and I had a bad sprain on my wrist. I mean, it's just badly sprained. I thought I got away with murder because I wasn't feeling so terrible. Then I woke up Wednesday morning. Oh my God. Every bit of soft tissue injury came alive during the night and said, "We'll wait for Daddy when he wakes up." And they expressed themselves and have been doing so ever since. So it's a pain in the ass because it's just kind of sore, just sore all over. And want to feel better. I have no hands. I'm effectively one-handed. Effectively, just Fortunately, I am left-handed. In terms of writing and eating stuff like that. And that's the hand I didn't injure. So thank goodness for that. I can operate a mouse. But I'm using the keyboard typing tool quite a bit.
I didn't know you were left-handed.
I am left-handed. Yes, I am.
As long as your pimp hand still works, everything's okay.
I'm ambidextrous. They're
That's
all
the
they're
one
all
that-
pimp hands.
That's the one that keeps the money coming in.
Well, it's funny. How this happened was we're dog sitting a dog that I had rescued years ago and gave to a stepdaughter to have and hold, and she has like an acre of fenced-in backyard, really nice fenced-in backyard. And this dog is a big Rhodesian Ridgeback. It's a dog that's the size of a pony. It's a dog that dwarfs. His best friend is a Great Dane, and this dog is bigger than the Great Dane by 25%. Rhodesian Ridgebacks, they grow them really big. And anyway, this dog just decided to move one way, and it involved me plummeting to the ground. And I realized I'm not strong enough and quick enough to walk that dog anymore. It's a sobering realization.
Part of the problem is that your center of mass is too high. The
Yeah.
dog's down low and has got all that mass.
Oh yeah,
He has an advantage in terms of where to apply the vectors.
right, exactly.
And so even if you had equal amounts of strength,
he has
him being down there
much
and you
better
being
moment.
up there, yeah.
You're done.
Yeah, you really want to have substantially more strength than the dog, or you need to get the dog to never do what your dog did.
Well,
Or robots.
exactly.
Get a robot.
This dog actually comes in at 168 pounds. Now, normally I walk a 13-pound miniature poodle. If that miniature poodle steps on my leg, it's going flying. That's all that's going to happen. It's going to go up in the air. I simply would have moved it out of my way quickly, probably gently, but it certainly, I would not have been the movie. I would have been the mover.
Right.
And when you're walking a big dog, I just wasn't paying close enough attention. That's really what the problem was. You just have to be a little bit more attentive. That's how accidents happen. It's a safety lecture I gave many times before, Jeff.
Yeah.
Anyway, so enough about the old man's injuries. I'll tell you what's weird is having a King of England.
It is, but we're not there yet. We have to get to Serenity's Day.
Oh yeah,
It's okay.
Yeah.
I'll take up the
And then we'll talk about
we'll
the
dive in. But then anyway, that's all I have to report. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're just glad you're okay.
Thanks.
Oh God.
Serenity, you doing all
Serenity,
right?
you all
Sorry,
right?
that was not a personal statement on Skep. That was all of a sudden
No.
I breathed in the wrong way and everything decided it wanted to go down the wrong tube.
Yeah. Cool design.
Yeah.
I know, it's like, thanks God.
Yeah.
You want to make my deviated septum worse?
Stuff
So we can
food,
have more
water,
fun?
and oxygen
Woo!
down the same hole. Yeah.
So, how was your day today, Serenity? Anything you want to share before we talk about the Queen?
No, my day was pretty okay. A video game came in the mail today because I buy hard copies of video games because I'm that person.
Mm-hmm.
Downloaded it. Well, put both discs in at different times and downloaded it, then played it for a little while.
What game is it?
Cyberpunk 2077.
Mm.
I have an Xbox Series X, so it plays beautifully. It's amazing.
So you buy like 2 copies and then put one of them in a Mylar bag and then store it in your Faraday cage
Not quite, but
with
it's
your backup Xbox.
Ferrite safe.
Yeah.
yeah, not quite. It's more of just in case anybody for some reason either takes my account or flags it or does something stupid with it, I at least can make a new account and I still have the games that I actually really like.
Mm.
Yeah. Register. Use the phone number for registering these things as your burner phone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or the landline that almost no one uses anymore. So
Yeah. Like I moved my landline over to a VoIP thing just so I basically still have the number.
yeah,
So I'm paying a tiny amount of money just to keep the number around.
it's
stupid.
our home number's bundled with everything else we have. So it's like maybe $10 a month, and that number's been here since the 60s. So at this point, it's just contrariness. It's just the refusal to get rid of it at this point out of sheer contrariness.
Landlines are just so expensive. I actually kept one for longer than a lot of people did, but to get a landline, it is just ridiculous in terms of the cost.
Is
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I mean, because essentially the way this works is the phone company can multiplex, what is it, 24 POTS lines over a PRI, which is how they do the wiring.
It's supposedly there's been talk about getting higher than that, but yeah, so far it's only that number.
Yeah, well, I'm
at
just
least
talking
last
about
time
the analog way of
Oh, yeah,
doing this
no.
stuff over the PRI line. Yeah, so it's expensive, compared to digital.
I checked. It is,
And,
but
otherwise, I would have, if it was only like $20, $25 a month, I'd totally keep one. But I think they run around 60, 65.
I pay
And that's
$6.
that's just a lot of money for a phone line. So
I pay $6 for a landline. I don't even know what the number is, but I have it.
$6.
well, it's like here
Yeah.
we pay. It's
It's a
$10.
tack on,
Yeah.
you have your internet and
No,
whatever
that's
bundle.
not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about like a digital phone line presenting as a phone line. I'm talking about an
No,
actual line from
Yeah.
the
That
phone
runs
company.
off a generic 3-switch manufactured by Lucent.
Yeah,
Yes,
The
one of
phone
those.
line you're talking about is basically an IP product that's bundled with your internet.
No,
Right.
this
Yeah.
is an actual phone line.
Yeah, we still
Does
plug
it
into
come
the
out of the
wall.
back
It's an old. This is an old building from like the 30s.
So it
Yeah.
doesn't come out of your cable modem.
No. It comes out of the wall, out of a
Yeah.
normal phone
We still
jack.
Wow.
use the same phone jack.
This
Well,
must
hell,
be
we used to
some
have
weird thing that they do in Canada, because I can tell you that it's
they
nowhere
do?
near.
Well,
that
yeah,
shit
everything
here.
is highly regulated here.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
But we used to have, so in the old days, because my grandparents used to have a rotary
Excuse
phone,
me.
the phone line wasn't an actual like phone jack. It was a 3-prong or plug thing plugged.
The big
And
one.
that changed. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember those.
We still have that plug We don't use it, but we still have that.
Before it became an RJ11 or whatever.
Yep. And
stupid
then we
thing
still hardline into the wall for our phone.
See, no, Elwin didn't even know we had a landline because it's like we both have cell phones. So like, what's the point? But the thing is, like, if I tacking that onto my telecom bill allowed us to get like unlimited television through the digital side of things. So it's like, okay, so I pay $6 to get $50 free TV channels. Okay, I'll do it.
At this point, I think they just pity us. I think they think it's my grandmother still. So they're like, "Oh, it's an old lady. It's fine." I think that's the only reason why we don't pay more for a landline. But that's it. Because we live out in the movies. So if the cell tower around here goes down, we need a physical landline.
Yeah.
Or vice versa. Even though that
I was just about to say, if the power goes out, I can plug in an actual phone into the wall and it'll work.
Yep.
Excuse me.
Alrighty then. I think
we old around here, Harry.
It is time to move on to the next thing then, if we are done talking about phone lines. So the Queen died.
God, may she rest in peace.
She's not a human being.
Yeah, well, I mean, she was... There are not many things that have been completely constant throughout my entire life.
Same.
Truth.
You know, I've gone through a whole bunch of presidents. I was alive before the moon landing, before the microcomputer. I've seen all kinds of things come and go, but QE2
Michael
has
Jordan.
been pretty much a standard. I mean, she's been there the whole freaking time, talking to the prime minister, getting her a little weekly briefing, and generally, even if she makes mistakes in retrospect, she seemed to have pretty darn good judgment.
Yeah.
I mean, I certainly don't take any issue with her. I mean, largely she didn't have to make any of the really tough decisions. Like when the Falklands conflict came along, that was Margaret Thatcher's problem.
Yep.
You know, that was not the Queen going all Warhammer 40K in her mechanized throne with the missile launchers going out there and taking the Falklands back. That was Margaret Thatcher's problem, right? Yeah. So I know that during World War II, originally, you know, she was just Princess Elizabeth.
Mm-hmm.
And one of her duties was to give this address to essentially make all the kids who'd been sent out of the cities into the country feel just a little bit less lonely and cast aside.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a whole PR thing involved in that in terms of how that was sort of portrayed to people overseas. I mean, it was all part of the media campaign to basically get the U.S. to just commit to the war completely instead of covertly like they had been doing for a few years. And she worked in the, you know, she basically volunteered and was working in the military. I think she was in the motor pool and was driving an ambulance at one point.
That's exactly what she was.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, she did not know how to drive before the war. She had to learn how to drive so she could drive that ambulance, which is, I think, even later in her life, she took great pleasure in driving around, you know, like in her Range Rover on her properties and stuff. And I think, as I recall, they were not exactly keen on her doing this, but, well, what are you going to do? Somebody could say, well, does the Queen even have a driver's license? Well, she doesn't need one. It's the Queen's authority that gives you the right to drive.
I've got a story about that.
Same thing. It's well, I'll get to you in a second, but it's the same thing with the passport. You know, the joke is that the Queen could just show up in Australia and they just sort of have to let her in. It's like, where's your passport?
Or here, yeah.
Look, see the face? That's my passport.
She was, you know, good in that her hands-off approach with this colony as well.
She was quite spirited, though.
Yeah, go Skep.
She at one point, the King of Saudi Arabia was visiting Britain, and you know he had a bunch of tours scheduled, including a drive-through of downtown London. And the Queen asserted her authority and said, "I will drive him." She showed up and drove him all over London, and according to people, drove like a bat out of hell, completely, you know, just rushing from place to place and making a big point about how women had the right to drive and women could do this and women could do that, and thoroughly pissed the guy off.
Yeah, it was spirited driving. She was trying to make a point.
Oh yeah, she was evidently. Anyway, that's the way the story is told.
Well,
Yeah, 'cause
she
that's the way to change people's mind. Put them in behind the wheel of a woman driver.
Yeah, well, she was extremely memeable. To put it bluntly, let me. There's a couple of my favorites here.
It's interesting because I actually consider that I was semi-alive during the reign of George VI, as I should have been conceived about 3 weeks before he died. So I was sort of here for a few weeks of the last few weeks of his thing. I hadn't had my coming out party.
Yeah. So here's.
But that's how long she's been queen.
She has been. So here's my favorite meme.
Oh yeah, that's one of the best ones.
This is when I first saw this a couple years ago. I sent this to like all of my friends. The fact that she's standing next to a bishop makes it just so much.
Yeah.
That's the icing on the cake. That's a great idea.
That's a great
This is
meme. I
perfect.
remember during her royal jubilee, she it was just a few years ago. I can't remember. I think it was because she had ruled for some number of years. I forget what it was. And let's see. Hold on. Let's just do it this way. When all the boats were in like the flotilla going down the Thames.
Oh yeah.
And she had this look on her face, and the people basically put this up, which I thought was fairly amusing. And then at the Olympics, there was this one.
Lord. that one was a good one because that was a middle finger to England all the time. Oh,
Yeah.
Well, that's
I
what
think-
she's such a symbol of.
Yeah, I like the meme of the map, and it's like all the countries that were at one point part of the British Empire, and it's like 4 shithole countries over in Africa, a couple in Asia, and it's just like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Not anymore, bitch.
Well, anyway, let's just hope Charles doesn't screw it all up.
It's Charles.
Yeah.
How have those countries done since England let them go? How are they doing it?
The way I see it, England is just, when they colonize a country, they're just paying it forward for all the good things Rome did for them.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
you're not wrong.
here, let's show up. This is how you make a toilet. This is how you get water in your cities.
Aquifers?
This is a thing called a bath. This is a thing called money. This is the law.
Hygiene.
Yeah,
soap.
all of these things.
Agriculture.
Yeah. Yeah,
Such
they left-
terrible things, Harry.
They left Londinium in much better shape than it was in when they
They
showed
found it.
up.
No kidding.
So they're just paying it
Well,
forward.
they are a Muslim nation now.
So the other
Essentially.
thing that happened this week was we had epic. Oh, that's right. I was going to take a quick, do a quick thing. I wanted to show this to you. Hold on. Let's make sure that I don't screw up the audio, as I always seem to do. Okay. So, functional. I hate this. I hate this a lot. Tell me if you hate this as well.
Oh God. Oh.
This is how I'm eating ramen for weight.
Wait, that didn't work. What the hell just happened?
Yeah, the queen got a
Apparently-
little...
Yeah. It went right back to fuck. Oh, there we go.
There we go.
Oh,
okay,
no.
Functional, tell me how much you hate this.
Loss.
Weight loss ramen. Let's see if it's bussin' or not. Believe it. Voila.
What?
I don't know, she just throws shit off her back porch.
Looking good.
Well, at least she used Kewpie mayo.
It is bussin'. What do you think of those noodles, huh?
I think they're bussin'.
I hate this. I hate this
What?
cooking channel so much.
Talk about using your grandmother to make money. Good lord.
I hate my life.
I mean,
Another
you-
channel I'm glad
like-
I haven't seen.
I like cooking. You like cooking. I hate that.
Mm.
My fear is that in 5 years, that's what all cooking shows are going to look like. Because everybody has no attention span.
Yeah.
It's like the MTV
Is
generation.
that even
version of
cooking?
show.
Like,
He was making ramen.
I guess she put some
It's
chicken
food- it's
into a
food
machine and it came
preparation.
out cooked.
Yeah, it was food preparation more than just pure cooking.
Yeah.
She did appear to heat the meat.
Yes, something happened.
Yes, something happened. None of it was good.
There's Fire Kitchen on Twitch, and it's this, I forget, Swedish? I don't know. No talking. The guy is out in the wilderness, and he usually has a nice, beautiful cut of protein of some kind, and it's just chopping veg, crushing spices, grilling meat, and like just so peaceful. And it's like, this is the cooking that I want to watch. Doesn't necessarily have to have no talking. It could be more instructional or whatever. It just, I want to see the person. I want to see their knife skills. I want to see, do they know how to chop a vegetable? Because you might think that that's kind of an easy, everybody knows how to do. No, very few people know how to properly chop a vegetable.
Okay, I'm gonna give you another one, but this one is one that I don't hate. Okay, this is one that I think actually manages to do something resembling a cooking tip that fits in a YouTube short.
A good piece of fish can go head to head with any steak. Just don't ever cook it. Divide the halibut into 6-ounce pieces. Room temp and dry it really well. Whisk. Half a cup pistachios. Let
So
her
far,
rip.
good, right?
Sure, yeah.
Like that. Kosher salt, just a little bit, both sides. Pepper. Just dip the presentation side. Press it so it adheres. Like that. Here's how you make it stick.
This is all good,
Heat
right?
The pan, medium heat, 1 minute. 3 tablespoons avocado oil. Heat it,
No.
30 seconds. Presentation
No
side.
avocado
Don't
oil.
touch it. Decrease the
Yes.
heat medium low so you don't burn
Because
the
it
nuts.
tolerates the
Sear
heat.
2 minutes. Works like a champ. Whip. Into the oven, 400 degrees, 2 to 4 minutes, depending how thick it is. Medium low heat, room temp, butter. Cut the heat. Moist, flaky, perfectly cooked.
Yeah, see? That's good.
No,
You don't like that.
no.
What do you not like about it?
Avocado oil, butter. You're just drowning it in fat. No, of course it's going to be juicy. Learn how to cook, and you don't need to drown your food.
Also,
in
she's
fucking
right-handed.
Hey,
fat. She's also right-handed. You
Hey,
can't
as
trust
far as
those
I'm
people.
concerned, you can confit fish. It's not going to bother me. It's so damn lean to begin with. Why not? And the reason
That's
for
a
the
different
avocado
process. That's a completely different process.
the
than
reason for the
using-
avocado oil is so that it won't smoke. Olive oil is too gentle for most people. I mean, it smokes really easily. And in terms of flavor, avocado oil is more neutral than a lot of olive oil is, unless it's the really heavily refined stuff.
Avocado's the devil's fruit.
Man, I think I found out something about you tonight. You hate avocados. Okay,
You
cool.
hate avocado.
Man, all right. Well, let's see. On with the show. California sizzled in a record heat wave this week. Yeah, it did. It was the suck.
Have you tried not living near a desert?
California is a big state. Very little of it is actually desert. It's just the little part down at the bottom.
It's 116. That's up there, looks like, by Davis.
Yeah, Sacramento, Davis, up to Redding. So we had some insane. Livermore hit
Holy
116 as well.
116 is 46C? Holy shnikes.
Yeah.
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 Wow.
Yeah, it
was
seems like
clear.
you all have the heat wave that we got in my neck of the woods earlier in the summer because we were hitting.
Yeah,
hit
East Coast got
10
battered.
Yeah, 109 in like June, July. So it looks like you all are getting That's humid hot, so it sucks even more.
Well, it ended today.
Thank God.
So today was like the first day where it wasn't absolutely terrible.
I love the one yellow one that's hiding behind everybody, and you just can't see the temperature.
He's like, I'm on the ocean.
I'm in an
the
island.
ocean. I'm 85. Fuck you.
Wow.
Yeah, Sacramento 116, King City 116, Livermore 116.
Which, if you look at some of what they say, there's some that say all-time record, but most of them are either daily record or just a month record. So where's all this global warming, motherfuckers?
Well, climate and weather are not
I know
the same thing.
I
So,
know.
yeah, that was this. So, of course, California, we turned our air conditioners on with a vengeance. And at one point, we were using, what was it, nearly 51 gigawatts of power.
Woo!
How many gigawatts of power?
51.
Jesus.
Woo!
Jesus Christ, that is a lot of power.
Yeah.
That's 4
I mean,
DeLoreans.
most people don't realize how much. That is an enormous amount of energy.
Yeah. And so you can see here in this graph where things go red, that means that they put out the
Rolling
bat signal
blackouts.
and said, for the love
Yeah.
of God, turn off everything you can possibly turn off that doesn't need to be on. Set your air conditioner to 78, turn your lights off, just do it so that we don't have to shut the power off. And we actually didn't have any rolling blackouts.
Oh,
We
that's
managed
good.
to not have any of that happen. The grid held up reasonably well, all things considered. I mean, it's an exceptional event. I mean, what are you going to do? This is like a 1 in 100 year kind of heat wave.
You do what Newsom does, which is sit in his house with a pullover on and then tell everybody else they need to turn their power off. I'm sorry.
No, who told him that wearing a long sleeve pullover was a good idea to announce to everybody to, we're going to have to make some sacrifices. Everybody's got to cut back. Oh boy, sure is cold in here with all this air conditioning.
You put on a loose
Asshole.
linen shirt. Get some.
You look sweaty and haggard.
Yeah.
You put on a t-shirt and say, "This sucks, but we all got to pull it." Your governor's in here with you together, and
Yeah.
even if it's not
Yeah.
true,
Get
you make
some-
that happen, idiot.
Get some intern to spray you with some Evian spray, just when you look like you sweated.
Mhm.
A PR,
Little
man.
avocado oil on the
He's
brow.
really glowing.
Yeah.
Man, I had no
Avocado
idea you
oil.
hated avocado oil.
Oh, that
Jesus.
means from now on we have to torture functional with avocado oils.
No, I think he's pretty serious about how much he hates avocados.
Oh, I know he's
I
serious.
really hate avocados.
I am the youngest in my family.
I love avocados. I didn't know avocado oil cooking with it was a thing. I really.
Oh, yes,
didn't.
been a thing for a while.
It's a little expensive, but
Yeah.
it is one of your better high temperature oils. Depending on which one you get, it's a good above 500 degrees Fahrenheit.
Mhm.
So you can cook with it, and it's actually still pretty healthy. So it has similar amounts of omega-3s to olive oil, but it's got handles
Wow.
temperature much better.
Interesting.
And it's got a more neutral flavor than extra virgin olive oil does. So if you don't want to use canola, which is really kind of garbage anyway, it's not a bad choice.
Oh, I don't use canola oil ever.
Yeah.
Well,
And
I know that they
some-
make a spray of the avocado oil too, because I have friends who use that one.
Yep.
Serenity, we can look at these temperatures and go, first reaction is like, whoa. But then you got to remember, these sons of bitches don't get snow. So
I know.
Fuck
It's
'em.
like, fuck off.
Well, you don't have any other season.
I
have
beg
you
to-
have
I beg to
summer and then
differ.
you have hotter summer. So
That was
I
a
beg to
freak.
differ.
It was a freak
I-
moment.
Well, the Sierras get snow, or
Yeah,
they used
yeah.
to, before
Yeah.
global warming. Ooh, no,
We
see, I
get,
did
snow,
it.
we get snow in Dallas. The last couple of years, we've had some
yeah.
stretches in January and February that were colder than the temperatures that were coming out of Canada.
Well, it's like, I know at least my state, where the part of the state I live in, which is the southern part, we can go anywhere from 106 to 110 in the summer to -6 to -10 Fahrenheit in the winter. So
Oh yeah.
we
It gets
run
my
the
blood
gamut.
going when we get to -40 C, and I'm just like, hell yeah, no, this is weather.
Well, let
Yeah,
me try
people
to.
really don't realize how volatile and strange the weather is in the Virginias, in West
Yeah.
Virginia and mid
It's
Virginia.
because the damn
That really is.
Appalachians.
Well, I
But
do
yeah,
wanna- I
you
want
got,
to
you
show
got
you
several
guys
things
something.
coming together. But anyway,
I would like to show you guys something.
Uh-oh.
So
like to see it.
this is not the only heat wave that
avocados.
we've ever had. I wanted to
Oh, yeah.
present to you something maybe you haven't heard of: the 1936 North American heat wave.
Oh yeah.
Now, imagine
that preceded the Dust Bowl, right?
it coincided.
no,
Oh, okay.
no, it did not precede the Dust Bowl.
And
Roughly
actually,
Made it
coincided
worse.
with the end of it.
Okay.
yeah.
Gotcha.
Well, also there was a huge cold snap that happened in 1936 as well. So they got both extremes. So essentially, the whole area up around Chicago and the Great Lakes in the upper Midwest sucked. And
Yeah.
it sucked hard. I'm trying to see what the number is. It was like the death toll exceeded 5,000 people, and it just destroyed crops.
It was
This
a
was-
bunch
Yeah.
of people in Chicago died in this
Yeah.
heat wave.
Well, this was
In
absolutely
Chicago,
terrible.
for
These
crying
got-
out loud.
And things got worse 80 years later.
It's not the way they expected.
So they had a whole bunch of days. So if you look at this chart here, so they say Bloomington, average high temperature, for July was 99.8 degrees. They had 17 days greater than or equal to 100 degrees.
And this is in time before air conditioning, which made it suck even more.
This was in time before air conditioning, which made things suck even more. Exactly. People were going outside and like sleeping on the lawn in the parks.
Yeah.
Because it did not cool off at night. It was absolutely miserable.
Oh yeah.
And it was not like everybody had like freezers and things. If this was 1936, it's not like nobody had a
Yeah.
refrigerator, but refrigeration and air conditioning were
Rare.
just not like they are here.
No
And there
wonder
was
you guys
nowhere-
started
You know where-
spraying CFCs all over the place.
Well, you know where you went for air conditioning back then would
Library?
be to the picture shows, the movies,
Movies.
and they all advertised as being air conditioned, and that was really one of the big popular draws, especially particularly in the South, was
Film
the
windows.
air conditioning in the theaters.
Yeah, I
Because
guess
the film
I'll
with
just
the reels would melt if it was too hot
Yeah,
and too moist.
Well, they had that good film that would just catch fire and explode.
I was going to say.
You
The nitrocellulose film.
That's what I was. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the good stuff.
Had some fun with that in high school.
Yeah, that movie that I was almost in, the H.P. Lovecraft style one, they actually took it and converted it to that nitrocellulose film.
Of course
After
they
Oh,
it was
did.
done,
just for the.
to try to get rid of it.
Oh, okay.
Excuse me.
But this heat wave it wasn't just localized to Chicago. It actually caused a lot of trouble in Toronto. It stopped raining. It sucked.
Mhm.
Here's a picture of some little kid looking miserable in the Toronto Daily Star. So 101.3 degrees Fahrenheit in Toronto. How's that sound functional? Does that sound good?
That sounds completely awful.
And a picture of a dead child on the front.
Soon to
page.
be dead.
Yeah, well, I guarantee you that kid's dead now.
Well,
Yeah, no, that's true.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, it could be the queen. You never know.
Yeah.
It could be.
Damn.
Well, anyway.
Life
Yeah,
is
and then because we're right on Lake Ontario, the water levels got back to pre-30s heat wave in 1987, I want to say. It was 87, 88. It was a big whole thing about how, hey, the water's back. And it was like, okay, well, now we're just back to where we were 60 years ago. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. I didn't understand the impact at that time, but
Well, for anybody who doesn't understand the difference between climate and weather, this is an illustration. This was 1936. There was a lot less CO2 in the atmosphere. Global warming, whatever it is, you can't point at an individual weather thing and say, "Oh, that's caused by global warming."
yeah.
That's not how climate works. Now, it may have contributed to it, absolutely, but it's not like you can draw a line of cause and effect because 1936 they had a heat wave that was longer in duration than the one that we just had in the West, and with similar kinds of temperatures, and the human toll was way worse. We didn't lose 5,000 people over the last week or so. Here in California, it wasn't that terrible. Anyway,
You probably would lose something like that in a decade in the modern age.
yeah. Let's see. How are we doing for?
And also, don't forget that the climate does shift. So when they say daily or the highest recorded record for today, it's like, yeah, but you got to remember these calendars that we've created are just complete man-made inventions so that we can track these things and quantify things in time. That the first week of April or something. Well, yeah, it typically gets wet, but it could shift a couple weeks one way, a couple weeks the other way.
Okay, so you didn't
whether
like
everybody talks about it, nobody does anything about it.
You didn't like the cooking show. How about this super?
No. The show was good. The format was excellent. She's a lady who knew what she was doing. Just no avocado.
It's the avocado oil.
Oh, okay. But that first thing, just kill it with fire. Not the people, the show. God, I hate that crap. All right, so here's a super fun amusement park ride.
Wait, why not kill the person with fire?
Because we don't do that, because we're kind, civilized people with a veneer of civilization that doesn't rip off.
Now, if she wanted to self-immolate,
you've only got one good hand right now. You have to pace yourself, man.
All right.
If I wanted to coerce her to self-immolate, that's on her.
Yeah.
I'm not going to strike the match. I'll hand her the match.
So check out this super fun amusement park ride. Okay, this is in India.
Oh boy.
No.
I can't wait for this.
Oh no.
Carnival ride malfunctions, sending riders plummeting 50 feet below.
No.
And
that did not happen.
Yeah, it's gonna
Everything's
you can see
fine.
it struggling. You can see it having a hard time.
Everything's fine.
Oh, it's made it all the way to the top.
Oh, we are having so much fun. Oh, we're not having fun. Oh.
Holy crap. Okay,
so
for that...
One of those that's supposed to go up and then drop you, but then the brakes are supposed to catch.
Yeah.
The brakes didn't catch.
Yeah, that was not good. Ow. So, yeah, nobody died.
Thank God.
But a bunch of people did get injured, as you might imagine.
Well,
I know someone bounced at the bottom.
Yeah,
a bunch of liars got rich.
Yeah, well, that's India. It's hard to swear. But no, like I saw someone bounce out of their seat. How terrible are those restraints? God damn.
Well, I mean, if you're going to get injured, I think that Action Park would be more fun.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
That doesn't look like fun.
I like the free fall aspect of it. I just don't like the landing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can honestly say the time I've done those kind of rides at like amusement parks here in the States, that's always like the thing my anxiety tries to tell me from the back of my head. The brakes are going to fail. It's like, shut up, anxiety. Stop it. I'm already up here. I can't do anything else. What do you like? This is not like, why did you decide to do this now when I'm already strapped in the seat and 100 feet in the air? Like, why are you doing this now?
My knock on rides like that is that it's not enough fun for long enough. When I was skydiving, I would fall for 2 miles straight down. Now that's time to really enjoy the fall. You need time to appreciate it to really truly.
So how
enjoy
long
it.
are you in the air before you have to pull the chute?
If you're going out from like 14 grand, you will wait until you are at about 3,000 or 4,000 if you're doing it like most guys do it and want the long free fall because you're going to do some relative work or work with other people in the air. So that can take that's about an 80 or 90 second delay. So it's 80 or 90 seconds of free fall through the air, and then you pull the handle. Mm-hmm. And ideally, the parachute comes out of the back. you know, it's an amazing feeling to fall down there, because what happens is you get so much air resistance, so much resistance against the air, that feels, and every skydiver describes this the same way, it feels like you're on a big pillowy waterbed kind of a thing. And you push down, you get some resistance. You know, you push down with either hand or your feet, and that's how you control your attitude. And you know, whether you're doing a flip or, you know, cutting real precise turns, you know, and being judged by people with binoculars below who are writing down scores. You know, if you're at a meet, that's the kind of stuff that you do. But yeah, typically on meet jumps, you'll go to like 7,000 or 8,000 feet and do like a 40 or 50 second delay, and, you know, pull up $3,000, 3,500 feet.
Well, like the rides that do the dropping thing, the best one I've ever been on has been the one Tower of Terror in Disney, because it will take you up, drop you, and then take you back up and drop you again.
I like that ride. I've been on it too.
That one's nice. Well, it's gone now.
Is it really? Are you kidding?
They switched
Tower
it
of
out.
Terror is gone?
They've switched it out for Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh.
It still does the same thing.
I remember Tower of Terror.
It takes you up, takes you down, takes you up, takes you down. And those are the ones I always like anyway. But I'm also that kid at Disney World who likes the Carousel of Progress. I was that person.
oh yeah, right. Me too.
I love that.
Serenity, I think you and I would have gotten along very well at Disney. We would like
my
the
mother
same things.
complained the entire time. Yes.
I'm a big roller coaster nut. I think the older, the more wooden the roller coaster, the more rickety. Oh man!
Did you ever ride the Texas Giant, the largest wooden roller coaster ever constructed?
No.
The Texas Giant. It was here. I have ridden that 4 or 5 times. I tell you, it shakes you to the core. And I was a young pup of 50 when I rode that thing. That thing beat me up, but it was a great ride. It was one of the most fun roller coasters I've ever been on. It was that old school wooden. It had the feel. It did not have the feel of a metal roller coaster. It had the feel of, you know what I'm talking about? That satisfying, you know, contact between car and, you know, it just felt like it's very well put together.
Every bone got jittered out of place. The ones I've ridden, the wooden roller coasters I've ridden are the ones that most people know, because they're the ones that people have talked about, which is the Beast and the Son of the Beast. Those are the ones I've ridden because Kennywood, because I was West Virginia. Kennywood's right there. So.
Hey, did they still have the amusement park in Hershey, Pennsylvania?
Oh yeah, Hershey Park's still there. I've been to Hershey Park a couple times too. I love Hershey Park.
That's when I lived in Washington. When I was going to high school, we used to sneak up to Hershey and go to Hershey Park. Oh, the whole town smells like chocolate.
I know, it's great.
Swear to God, it does. It does.
It does. But I think we hijacked Harry's show. Harry, you okay?
Just hanging out.
Yeah. Sorry, Harry.
Just
take it away, bud.
Don't worry about it. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the busing of the migrants to their sanctuary cities. So we do have a little clip here. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but let's just take a look at this.
Sanctuary cities are completely melting down after getting just a tiny taste of Biden's border crisis. Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot sending all those women and children who were bused to her city off to a nearby Illinois suburban town. Meanwhile, Washington, D.C. Muriel Bowser declaring a public emergency as busloads of migrants continued to arrive. And a D.C. councilwoman who once celebrated her city's sanctuary city status is now complaining about the surge.
So it's been said, but it's worth reiterating, that the governors of Texas and Arizona have created this crisis. And the federal government has not stepped up to assist the District of Columbia. And in many ways, the governors of Texas and Arizona have turned us into a border town.
If you say the word border town and it's a bad thing, why is it okay for them to be border towns? What the fuck?
Somebody send the wambulance. So I guess Mayor Lightfoot got her own bus and sent some of these migrants to a town near Chicago. Just send them off to like a suburb somewhere nearby.
And the suburb's pissed because the mayor of the suburb was like, "What the fuck, dude?" And it's like, sweetheart, you're not doing what you think you're doing.
Yeah, this isn't the sick burn that you think it is. You know, she thinks she's making some kind of like
they're all
really
Democrats.
Yeah, some really good point. It's like, well, you're making us into a border town. Well, you said you wanted to be a sanctuary city, dumbass.
Yes,
here's your chance.
But their Democrats are bad losers. They always whine. They always piss and moan. And even when they're being antagonistic toward each other, which is what's going on happening here, because that mayor of that town, I believe, is a Democrat also, and does not appreciate being abused by Mayor Lightfoot. And he feels like he's being abused. He's pissed off, and I think he's got a right to be.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, if you actually look at the number of migrants who've gone to those cities, they're not even that large of a number. It's like, I think the largest number is like 1,700. That's it. They're acting like it's 107,000 of them have just descended upon the cities. It hasn't been that large of a number like what Texas and Arizona deal with. So why y'all bitching? Oh wait, maybe being a sanctuary city isn't a good thing.
Think about how they're going to handle it. You are the mayor of some small city near the border in Texas. What are you going to do? You're going
Del Rio, Texas.
You're going to
set up Del Rio.
You're going to set up tents. You're going to get aid coming in. People are going to come in and make food. You're going to do it like you do disaster relief, right?
Yeah.
You're going to set up
refugee city.
It would be a refugee city, and that would suck. But if you're the mayor of Chicago, what are you going to do? You know, it's in some ways it's a little more difficult, because are you just going to buy hotel rooms? You don't even have those kind of resources for like 1,700 more homeless people, right?
Right.
So in some ways it is a lot more difficult for them, but the underlying problem is that they have been completely indifferent to the plight of the people down in Texas, and they thought the problem wasn't going to find its way up to them. And it does.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a lot of these problems you can try to get smug and go, well, it's not my problem. I can declare myself a sanctuary city. What's going to happen to me? And then somebody like Abbott says, oh, I have a great idea.
I got you.
I got you.
Like the mayor of New York City,
Adams.
Yeah, will not talk to Abbott, but he sent like a group of people down to have a look at everything to make sure that no one was being forced onto the buses. Like, he's now trying to paint Abbott as like, get on the buses, you Jews! Like, that's what he's trying to act like he's doing, and it's like, no.
No, what he's saying is, hey, we've got stuff here. We're having chili again tonight. This is going to be great. We're gonna camp out under the stars. It's going to be a nice night here in Texas. Or you could go find jobs in New York City where they have lots of places. I mean, if you look at what Anthony Bourdain wrote all those years ago and what he talked about on an ongoing basis, our refugees are way better than the refugees that they have to deal with in Europe.
Oh, yeah.
Because, you know, most of those people, not all of them, I'm not saying we should have an open border. Not saying that at all. But there are a lot of people that come up from south of the border here who are coming up to actually work.
Yeah.
And there are lots and lots and lots of jobs for people washing dishes and bussing tables and doing all that stuff in New York City that other people don't seem to want. So why wouldn't you get on a bus and go do it?
I will tell you that more than half, probably more than 3/4 of the people who are coming across the border illegally want jobs. They want to work. They want to participate in this way of life. I'll bet you 3/4 of them do. The problem is that there is a huge proportion of them who are either victims of crime or criminals or both, and that's what's really making the problem. The other problems. I mean, for all the histrionics, the regular people who just want to come here and want to work, want to get processed, and want to seek asylum, or maybe they're just economic migrants or whatever. Those people could be managed. Those people could be processed. The problem is the 10% or 15%, whatever it is, who are just true troublemakers, and that's where the additional procedures have to be called into play. That's where the potential law enforcement. That's why we have to incarcerate them as closely. Can you imagine if we could get both sides to back down a little bit from their hardened stances and get the people who are coming in to believe that they'll actually be given a fair hearing if they show up for their hearing, and that they'll be treated with some compassion, and that room will be tried to be found to be made for them, if their intentions can be verified to be generally good. We could manage that problem. The problem is the criminal element and the victims of crime, the groomed children, the sex trade, all that stuff. The stuff with the opiates is one of the most overblown, exaggerated problems I've ever seen anywhere. That is completely. That's been a problem at about the level that it is for years and years now. But it's just like they're just now. Oh, the opiates are coming from China over the border.
I need to stop you for a moment.
I'm sorry.
Because no, you're fine. It's just that I'm not looking at chat and I know what's being said there, but you changing gears to what you just changed gears to, people are thinking that I said something that I didn't.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No. I just need to clarify. I'm talking about, you've got a bunch of migrants and you want to put some of them on buses. I'm just talking about what does that process look like? How do you find these people? It's not like you're sticking the Jews on the trains to send them to Auschwitz. This is a thing of, hey, do you want to be in this camp, this refugee camp here on the border, or would you like to go to a place where you could probably find a job? And there's going to be plenty of takers who are going to be willing to go to New York instead of being stuck in South Texas.
Absolutely.
That's all I was talking about. Now, the thing you're talking about is the much bigger issue of why we shouldn't have an open border. We shouldn't be catching and releasing people. The people who want to come here as economic migrants are more than capable of filling out the paperwork and going through the correct ports of entry.
Exactly.
There's no reason for anybody to be sneaking across the border. And honestly, I don't really care what your goals are. If you're sneaking across the border, if I'm in charge, you just get sent back. Mm-hmm. And any kind of application you make, you make it quite clear that this is not how you get into this country.
Yep.
Hey, if you come in from Mexico, you should have to wait in Mexico.
Yep.
Or any port of entry.
Yep. Exactly right.
Because there's plenty of ports of entry.
It sounds like you want a merit-based system, Skep, and I don't know if I believe in that kind of white supremacy.
Well, Canada has one, so does Australia.
So does Mexico, by the way.
Yeah.
But there's been a big influx of illegals coming in through other ports of entry in the United States, and then just literally walking into Canada, whether it be on the West Coast or in the Northeast.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is, but then we have on top of that government-sponsored programs that will pick people from no general merit. Just if you want to come study or work here, you get what's called a student visa, or you file with the temporary foreign worker program, which is basically just the same kind of thing you guys have with the South Americans coming up from the bottom border. Although we like to ship them in from India and other parts of Asia, and they generally will come. They'll legally come and work and whatever, and once it runs out, they just stay. And that's where I kind of have the problem of, well, should there not be a path to citizenship or landed status at that point instead of just letting these people just stay?
Yeah.
You break that
because it's shown that they want to work, like Skep was saying. That's a good thing. That's a very good thing.
Many of them want to work.
Yeah.
Right. Many of them. Well, I mean, using this temporary foreign worker program, they do. They have to work. It's part of the conditions of the program. But then once their stint in the program is up, they kind of just stay and there's no legal status there. They're just kind of here. And it seems to be a common theme just from different parts of the world influxing in.
One of the reasons that I may sound a little bit soft on the immigrant thing is we have in this country done the nod and a wink thing toward illegals working here. As long as they were our gardeners and our nannies and they picked our grapes and lettuce, we're totally cool with that. And we said, yeah, you absolutely can. So we have brought this on ourselves. These people who suddenly say, no, what about the people who did it the right way? Well, we legitimized the wrong way. So that's really on us. To a certain extent, that's on us. And the other thing is that let's not forget how this nation got put together in the first place. Acting with compassion toward people who come to this country with a good heart and good intention is not a good look for us. We need to be welcoming to those people to the extent that we can, but they still need to go through the same process that the people who did it the right way went through. It's just, I think we owe them an effort to make that an expeditious process and one that can result in success for them, where that's appropriate, where that works for them and works for us. Yeah. And there's, look, we're making babies at, I think it's 1.72 per couple. And that's not enough babies to keep our country going. We need immigration. We rely on immigration. We are not replacing our population without immigration. We need immigration. We need immigration to remain a healthy country. That's something else we need to be paying attention to. But that's one of the reasons that I think is the tragedy of modern American presidential regimes is that they're just so reactive. Biden just reacts to whatever the latest crisis that comes and presents itself to him. Obama did this too. Obama used to brag about it. He would say, I come down to breakfast in the morning and talk with I come down to breakfast with Michelle and talk with Michelle, the kind of stentorian way he has of talking. And says, well, I've got a crisis in, Iraq here. And, I've got a thing with Chinese here and North Korea here, which one am I going to tackle first? He was a man sitting down to a plate of pancakes. That's the way he reacted to the world. He doesn't know what it means to have a plan, a program. I realize I'm not being completely fair to him. I think he had some domestic plans, but that they never really came to much more than, that vomitous health program he put up. Anyway, how I do go on. Getting back to this. What
you started talking about population collapse.
Yeah, the thing with the immigration is that is something that if we would work together, if we'd all work together, we could solve that. We could put a process in that would be workable. And the problem is it's so politicized, we can't even work on it. And nobody's going to be able to work on it until somebody gets a big-ass majority in Congress, in my opinion.
Well, I sort of disagree with you in some ways. I understand the logic of population collapse bad. If we bring in more people, then our population won't collapse. Problem solved.
Bring in good people. You have to bring in good people, Harry.
The problem is that what you're doing is you're making it that much more difficult to solve the underlying causes of the population collapse. And by that, I mean, if we just brought in skilled people who wanted to come here, not necessarily in huge numbers, but why shouldn't we brain drain the rest of the planet? Good for us, right? We should absolutely do that. Skilled people who want to work hard and people who have special skills, we should take in lots of those. But in terms of taking in enough people to fix our population deficit, what that does is it means that you get no closer to solving the cost issues associated with having families. The fact that people don't have enough room, housing is too expensive, everything is too expensive. Just finding land upon which to build, people always talk about, oh, well, we have all this space. No, bullshit. In terms of the places we would want to build houses and people would want to live, and where there's enough water, those are actually fairly limited. Bringing in millions and millions of people just makes it that much harder to fix the problems that are leading to the low birth rates. I think we should be trying to fix those societal problems and all the structural things that make it hard and expensive to grow our own families.
How do you fix those societal problems? How do you do that?
I don't know. How do you fix any societal problems? You know what I'm talking about.
Well, I understand. To me, when you talk about fixing societal problems, that sounds like this is a job for government man.
No,
and
no.
Okay.
This is about removing the impediments. And when the government brings in lots of people from outside, you're making a lot of
impediment.
What I'm saying is it is exacerbating some of the problems that have led to the low population to begin with. Part of the reason people aren't having as many kids is because everything is getting so incredibly expensive. Government needs to take its foot off of people's neck. They need to get their hand out of people's wallets.
Well, yes,
we need to solve housing. We need to solve education. We need to solve a lot of problems. And bringing in lots and lots of people from outside who have needs and where the first generation is going to be a net taker makes all of that other stuff we could do to solve our domestic problem harder.
Why can't we crank that into our immigration acceptance policy and say we will only take the immigrants who we believe help according to the parameters you just outlined, the concerns.
No, I already said that we should definitely brain drain and skill drain the rest of the world.
I'm saying that we should. There's no reason why we shouldn't do that, right?
You mean brain drain the rest of the world? No, there's no reason why we shouldn't do that.
I'm not entirely convinced that you're not past the point of no return in the West at this point to be able to fix some of these problems. Like you said at the beginning, or I think it was Skep who said it, like leadership in the West now, I mean, it's just as true up here as it is down there, is reactionary as opposed to proactive. And yeah, big government man is the big reason why, because they want to, like you use the word impediment, which I think is great, because there's so many things that they do that put up these impediments that prevent just normal working families from being that American dream, a slice of Americana. One income was enough to support people up until 30 years ago. And you could have that 3.5 kids on one source of income that might not have been the most glorious job in the world, but like Frank's working at the hardware store, he's pulling in enough money for the kids and I, great. And today it's like, well, you working that same job, you couldn't afford a closet apartment in most cities.
Yeah, look at what Thomas Sowell said, started saying like 40 years ago. He was looking at the progress that Black Americans were making economically. And then the government stepped in to make things better, right? And what did we end up with? We ended up with all kinds of societal problems, fatherlessness, the state trying to step in as the surrogate father, just throw more and more and more money at the school system to try to fix the problems. And everybody means well, but all we end up doing is just making the problem worse and worse and worse. If the government had not gotten involved in all this desire to basically fix poverty and a lot of these problems that they thought they were going to fix, I think we'd probably be in a much better place than we are now, just on that one subculture that we have. My concern is that huge, large-scale immigration just makes it much harder to solve these problems. Now, if we've decided that that ship has sailed and there's no way we can fix these problems, that we might as well just give up, and that the only thing we can do is bring in millions of people to bolster our numbers, then okay. But I think if that's what we're going to do, we need to be honest about that. That's what we're doing. We have given up on having the people who are here basically maintain their population.
I don't know if it's a bug or a feature, but a lot of that stems from centralization of power. Things were a lot better when states, cities, municipalities, whatever, had a lot more control over how to fix the communal problems, as opposed to the big nationwide type things. And now that these big national problems like mass immigration is starting to collapse communities because of the games that the Fed wants to play, or more higher up, like governors, whatever, busing these people around. Like, these people are letting them in, and then these people are sending them over here, and then sending them over there. I think I don't think that, how can I word this? You're right in that it is government stepping in, but I think we tend to conflate government with all levels of government, because the most important things that will affect any given person on a day-to-day basis are generally more because of your city councilors than they are Joseph R. Biden.
Yeah, but you live in Toronto, so you know what I'm talking about the housing.
Oh,
and
yeah,
I'm
definitely.
just trying to think, okay, so where are these people all going to live? Well, they come from places that are less well off, so they won't mind living in tiny houses or having less, right? Because for the longest time, we were in ascendancy, and the size of houses was going up. You went from having 0 bathrooms to 1 bathroom to 2 bathrooms to 3 bathrooms. Things were just getting really, really good for a long time. And then I get to be in the first generation that's less well off than the one before. That's the first. I get to be on the vanguard of that, and you get down to Generation Z, and it all sucks. And then you're going to tell them, oh well, you might be able to find a place to live. Housing's starting to be okay. Oh, but never mind. We're bringing in 3 million people a year now, and they all need some place to live.
Maybe new cities, because population centers, let's call them. They don't necessarily have to be cities, because what's happening is the sprawl from previous generations. They move further and further out from the cities, and the new people want to live more in the heart of the city, and the cycle continues. But they can only sprawl so far and so fast, and there's becoming more and more places for people to escape outside of these population centers.
One things you could do, I think you should think about doing, is taking these people and let's put them up on Baffin Island. That's a big ass landmass up there. There's no reason why we can't have nice suburban, igloo towns. I guess the houses would be made from ice. No reason why these immigrants can't go up there and be settled into ice towns up on Baffin. Baffin Estates, is calling.
Yeah. All right. Well, I've completely screwed up my own show. Let's see. Where are we in terms of
mosquitoes are fit for eating.
Let's see. We are 75 minutes in. Where are we supposed to be? Well, we were about to. I'm going to skip the story that we were. No, we're not skipping this one. This one's too much fun. This is a fun thing. Nice little palate cleanser. Enjoy this. Oops.
And that's the thing too, Assassin. I don't want government to do these kinds of again, I'm remiss to call them new cities, but new areas where people could, because generally the only thing that sparks these new population centers is natural resources. Maybe corporations like Amazon could build a new town somewhere and be like, okay, well, this is going to be a new major distribution hub for Middle America, and that would inspire people to need homes. So people need to move there to start building homes. And
look at the cost of lumber. Look at the cost of drywall. Look at how much everything costs.
That's government impediment that's drove those costs up.
No, it's guns and butter. The more something you need, the prices don't always go down. The prices actually start to go up at a certain point.
Plenty of sand and gravel up there on Baffin Island.
Okay, here's something nice. Let's just have a nice little palette cleanser here. Here's a xylophone in the woods in Japan, and it plays music.
Even the minor key part of it. Oh my gosh. Mucho respecto. Does it play anything else?
Eventually.
Changing songs is time consuming.
Yeah.
I love this. It's so YouTube.
It's like a warning to the trees there. I'm just going to use a bunch of dead trees here.
Well, I mean, in Japan, it's so humid and damp that they have to change out the shrines and everything like that. I think every few years, not like 3, but like the shrines literally just start to dissolve after a while, and they have to be rebuilt on the same site using the same trees from the same site. It's really cool what they do with some of the shrines.
Yeah,
that's awesome. I love that.
That is pretty darn amazing.
That was so cool.
Was that a literal ad for a fucking phone?
No, I don't think
no,
so.
it's just there's that phone at the end. That's the reason why.
Oh, and it's got a wood case.
Yeah, that's the reason why I was like, God damn it, Japan! Even
Doesn't
your anime noodle commercials.
2 bombs
are
weren't enough,
amazing.
man. I hate you, Japan.
I love Japan, but I hate Japan at the same time. It's like, y'all overdo everything. Stop it.
Well, as we speaking of Illinois, when it's not hot, they're causing themselves problems. You must have heard about this little bit of legislation that's coming into effect on January 1st. That's going to essentially mean you won't be detaining people. You just give them a little citation for aggravated battery, DUI, fleeing, arson, burglary, drug-induced homicide, intimidation, kidnapping, robbery, second-degree murder, or threatening a public official.
Oh, and they can't do anything for 24 hours. 24 hours either. So if someone does something like they break their thing, it's like 24 or 48. They can, as the one police chief for a town put it, he's like, they can be till Alaska.
Go to Alaska,
yeah.
Where did is this really true that you can kill someone for second-degree murder and you won't be arrested?
Well, here's the news story. Let me bring this up. I just wanted to get the framing
sound possible to me.
Yeah, but
it's Illinois.
Raised tonight by the Grundy County Sheriff about the impact on public safety of the so-called Safety Act because it eliminates the ability of law enforcement to arrest certain people. The reforms under the Safety Act that eliminate cash bail will open the doors to freedom for many people currently locked up who can't make bail. But Grundy County Sheriff Ken Briley is raising concerns because the law will ban arrests for people accused of certain misdemeanors. He cites trespassing as an example.
Today I can arrest them if you sign a complaint for trespassing. January 1st, I'm not going to be able to do that. The law says I have to write them a ticket and leave.
Sheriff Briley worries about the possible ramifications in his community.
And if we can't arrest them and we can't solve people's problems, we don't want people to take matters into their own hands.
Today,
so it sounds like most of those other things, it was no cash bail. So not only is it you can't arrest people for certain things, but there's no cash bail for other things. So we'll write them up and then we'll just let them loose because they'll definitely show up for the hearing.
Well, it's like there was another sheriff. It's not that sheriff. There was another sheriff. I think not Skep. I think Functional saw the same thing I did, where he was like, they can literally live in your. They can live in your shed, and you literally can't do anything.
You can't
and
do
we
anything.
can't do anything either.
We can.
Like
The sheriff can show up and say,
"You can't be here."
You can't be here, but that's it. They can't remove them from the property or whatever. And it's several areas too. I know. Obviously, there's a whole bunch of shenanigans going on in California, but it's also happening in New York City and New York State. I don't remember if it was Atlanta or somewhere around that area there. That again, they're doing away with bail or whatever. They name it some stupid safety act. Come on.
Well, follow the money. I'm sure a lot of this goes back to a certain person with initials GS. Or somebody like him.
Yeah.
Geraldo Sanchez?
Yeah, Geraldo Sanchez.
I'll go with that.
I believe it was Shemp Soros.
Yeah, that's what happens when you take away some part of the system and don't replace it with something.
Well, okay, that's one of the things that happens, or something like this could happen.
Breaking news, the body of a missing Memphis jogger has been identified. The news comes as the man accused of kidnapping her appears in court today. U.S. Marshals arrested 38-year-old
chopped her up and burned her
after they identified the SUV used in the kidnapping and DNA on a pair of sandals found near where Eliza Fletcher was last seen. Police say Abston will now also be facing charges of first-degree murder and preparation of kidnapping.
No.
Fletcher's body was found
But
Monday.
the point is, he has a history. He has a history of doing these things. Why is this person...
that doesn't have anything to do with his future behavior just because he does it all the time.
Just because he does it all the time doesn't mean anything. Or how about this? How about this one?
Oh yeah, the
disturbing
sword.
new details in a gruesome murder that happened on the peninsula. Authorities say the victim, a woman, was beheaded on the street right in front of her neighbors.
Horrible. Today in the Bay's Ginger Conejero-Saba is there live this morning. And Ginger, the search continues, I understand, even for that weapon.
Check your neck, Ginger.
That's right. Good morning, Laura and Chris. The search for that weapon continues. Exact whereabouts or the exact details of that weapon still have to be released. And it's really difficult and disturbing to imagine just what happened on the street less than 24 hours ago. A woman was beheaded in broad daylight in front of her home. That woman is said to have two children, a 7-year-old and a 1-year-old. And this morning, both of them without their mother.
So this was her former domestic partner with a long history of crimes, violent and otherwise. Multiple instances of the police being called for domestic abuse. They were separated, but she had a restraining order, which is essentially the gun-free zone equivalent of type thing. You know, you just
This
is a gun-free zone, Mr. Burglar.
Gun-free zone can't. No,
man,
bad.
these things are coming up here. I can't use my gun anywhere.
So this guy didn't pay attention to the restraining order and instead took something like a samurai sword and chopped her head off. And the police are so upset. Even the police are in counseling. They didn't do the thing they normally do with the news, where they say, was later declared dead. On the way to the hospital or at the hospital. They just said, no, she's dead.
Yeah,
she's dead. That's
once
was
that
weird.
head comes off, you're done.
Yeah. It rolled under a nearby car, and this was not good for anybody. But the point is, why are these people on the streets where they can do things like this? We keep getting, I mean, it's just so painfully obvious that we need to remove people like this from society until it's safe to bring them back, which could be never.
Electric chair.
Sorry, I'm just getting very Law and Order as I get older.
Well, it's like, and a lot of people, as per usual, are missing the plot. Like the with the runner chick. Like a lot of people were like, she should have been safe. Like, who cares if it's 4:30 in the morning? It's like, stop focusing on the bullshit that they're telling you to focus on. Focus on the fact that this guy has done this several times. Screw
what were this guy's needs? I think we need to have a more nuanced understanding of why he did this. I mean, you don't just wake up one day and say, I'm going to behead my ex-domestic partner. He must have felt like there was some good that was being accomplished. What does his oppression stack look like?
Yeah.
Is he, I think that's one of the things that we really need to come up with is put together a needs profile based on his oppression stack. And you may find that this was not only appropriate, but was actually a good thing. It'd be hard to explain that to the kids, but, we have to keep an open mind on this, Harry.
We can use artificial intelligence. What we do is we monitor the things that he purchased. He probably started out by buying cantaloupes to practice on, and then he bought watermelons.
Sure.
And then at some point he bought a number of thawed, previously frozen turkeys. I think the AI should be able to pick up the shift in his buying habits to determine that he's practicing to behead somebody.
Big pig.
You might be right.
Yeah.
You might be right. It's just amazing what we are willing to accept as normal these days.
This isn't normal.
I'm absolutely heartbroken for the shape the country's in.
Well, the thing that's like is sad to another level is like in Illinois, like if they pulled that kind of, not that I want them to, they pulled that kind of cashless bail shit here in West Virginia, we at least are a constitutional carry. And we're a castle doctrine state. Like, come on my property. I dare you. Like, Illinois, they don't even have that.
No?
Like in one of the sheriffs said, well, you have to decide what your force is. It's like, no, they can't, because literally they'll be held accountable and they'll actually show up to the court dates. So you're literally handicapping people or forcing them to literally kill someone else and then hide the bodies. This way, no, they don't get in trouble. Like,
well, that guy ran away and hid the sword, and they're still trying to find the murder weapon.
In Texas, just by way of contrast, if you find a guy hiding in your shed,
oh yeah,
you can walk up and shoot him 25 times in the head, and nothing will happen to you. In Texas, if you own the property, in Texas, you can use deadly force to prevent harm to your property.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. It's the second strongest castle doctrine after Tennessee.
That's not going to protect you from the feds, though, because if that was an immigrant or a migrant or whatever term we're using these days, passing through your property, if you live near the border and they were hiding in your shed and you did that, I can bet you that the feds would find some way to come after you.
I got a trump card. I've got a trump card. Do you know what I'm going to say?
Yeah.
That this guy said he identified as, whatever he needed to identify before. And that'll be the end of that.
Well, who identifies as what?
That the guy identified as a murderer. He was coming to
Skep can identify as a woman.
And I identified as a superhero.
Transgender.
Yeah. Okay.
Zebra.
We just live in crazy time.
Yeah.
That we can even have this conversation and be this silly and acerbic and sarcastic about it. It really is an indication for we've let standards slip so much. I forget if it was Spud or Assassin, or may have been both of them, talking about just how far we've slid in this country, and they're not wrong. And Canada has slid because where the U.S. slides, Canada slides too. And you've slid right along with us.
Well, Skep, at least we're not still using floppy disks. Did you catch the story?
War on the flop. They're using floppy disk stuff.
The government in Japan has a number of things that are basically codified that say you have to copy the data onto media and sneaker net it or send it in the mail. Mm-hmm. And that means floppy disks or burning like a CD-ROM.
Yep. It's very common there.
And somebody's finally gotten around to saying, yeah, maybe this is a terrible idea.
Good God. That looks like an 8-inch disc. That's not a 5 1/4, is it? Or is that an Altair 5 1/4?
That looks like a 5 1/4 to me.
That is a 5 1/4. It is. It's got the nip in it. Yeah.
But they say that there are over about 1,900 government procedures that require the business community to use disks to basically submit applications and other forms.
Hell yeah.
So it's like you want to apply for, I don't know, a small business loan or whatever the equivalent is. Well, you better get out the floppy drive.
Oh, that's funny.
Well, it's like if you actually like look at a lot of the stuff, like the laptops and stuff like that are made in that sell in Japan, they still have like they have connections for the floppy disk drives, but they still have CD-ROM drives built into them, even the more modern ones, because of this stuff. And it's like, you get it?
And here it's like, how many people still have optical drives?
I know, like nobody has it.
It's like when I was last shopping for one, I was like, yeah, and I want to put a DVD burner in it. And they're like, we don't sell cases that can do that. It's like, wait, what?
Yeah.
There's no cases with front-loading bays that I can put my own?
You have to get an external now.
Yeah, just get an external. I have an external Blu-ray burner. It's fine.
Yeah, I've got an external also.
No, but it was kind of a little bit of a culture shock at the time to be like, they don't make cases, or they don't sell these cases at the computer store to build your own PC. They don't sell cases with the front loading bays anymore. It's like, well, yeah, that was kind of a culture shock. I was like, wow, that's so wow.
Yeah,
they have to put Harry's most hated thing on them now. They have to put RGBs on them now because Harry hates RGBs.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm okay with USB drives.
RGB is a kind of monitor, I thought.
No, it's gamer. You gotta make it a gamer compatible. You have to have colored LEDs everywhere.
Well, there's new ones. There's the new ones now, which are RGB-IC.
You're talking about component out, yeah.
Yeah, but there's
okay, baby. I won't let Harry hurt you.
I know, it's like, stay away from my LEDs, Harry.
Yeah,
I have a lot of LEDs. Damn it, stay away.
There was a time in my life when I was working on a project for a big company, and part of this project was sending out. I had to burn CDs and send them via courier a couple times a week to send it off to a place to be beta tested up in Marin.
Twitch?
Yeah, it was the Marin. It was in Marin, is where the beta testing place was.
Marin.
So I had to get these things to FedEx by like 7 p.m. So it was a lot of this, stress trying to get these things out, because there was a time when burning a CD actually wasn't that easy.
Yeah.
If you did anything on the computer at the same time, you ran the risk of basically underfilling a buffer, and then the write would fail as it was writing the sectors of data. So even with a Power Mac 8500 dedicated with the burner, it was not always. It didn't work every single time, especially if you had the nerve to actually touch the computer. You just started burning and then you walked away. It's like, don't touch it. Don't look at it. Don't do anything until it's done doing its burn. And that was during a time when there was actually a shortage on media. And I kid you not, it reached the point where it was $10 for a single blank CDR.
Those were dark days, my friend.
Oh, I remember
those were dark days.
And they were what, 180 megabytes?
650.
650? Okay, yeah. I definitely remember in high school, we finally got one that, anybody could use, but you set it in the morning, no touchy, and then at the end, when the school bell rang for the end of the day, you were like, oh my god, it's at 98%.
Yes. Oh no, like
And then some asshole would come into the computer lab and kick a table and be like, "Ah, mother, no!"
Yeah, and this was SCSI when I was doing it. It wasn't.
All
even,
right.
Yeah.
Small computer system interface.
Yeah. But anyway, I'm being
remember
bad. Go ahead,
having-
Serenity.
I remember having like one of the ones that came a little bit later.
Yeah.
That if you had a very specific type of CD or DVD, because it was one of the early DVD ROMs, like burners, that it would etch the front. I had one of those at one point. That was like woo! Nowadays it's like I have a tiny thumbstick.
Yeah.
I can really the sticky.
Well, when you got to this was just CD burners. DVD burners were like, this is like some serious black magic that we're involved in here. And then the dual layer DVDs. Oh my God. Now we're cooking with gas. But back in the old days, back in the old days, if you didn't use CDs and it wouldn't fit on a stack of floppies readily, your only other option was like a zip drive or a jazz drive, like an iOmega thing with removable media, and that was the suck. I can tell you that there is old satellite data from NASA that's recorded on, I kid you not, something called a 7-track tape.
I know what a 7-track tape is.
And there are actual data stewardship issues that NASA has to deal with, with getting stuff like that before the oxide falls off and getting it onto some kind of mass storage system. So,
Lord.
What's
on it? What's on it, Harry?
Oh, this is like data from old space probes and old NASA satellites and stuff that they've had on there. I was talking to somebody and they were telling me about this issue when I was doing some mass storage stuff, and I was like, holy cow, you got to be kidding me. It's like, no, well, the thing is when you've got data that spans generations, you're constantly taking stuff from old formats and copying it into new formats. Making these poor people burn CDs and go get floppy drives is pretty barbaric. The Japanese should be ashamed of themselves. They're about 20 years too late on this decision. But anyway, let's see. So there was this thing. The UK has actually figured something out that maybe we don't need to give vaccines to kids for COVID between the ages of 5 and 11. Yeah.
The concept.
Children in the UK aged 5 to 11 will no longer be offered COVID jabs.
Praise Jesus.
The decision was due to concerns with developmental side effects in children.
Concept.
I know.
Wait, I thought that was impossible.
No, British children are suffering it. American children don't.
Okay, so it's the science, right?
It's the science.
Oh,
I don't know how believable that comment that's right below it is, though.
Well, I'm not going to even worry about anything that's happening beneath it.
Well, it's just like they're removing massive clots. I'm like,
allegedly.
Embalming process.
Allegedly, yeah. I'm like, sweetheart.
Massive arterial venous blockages. If you know anything about embalming, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Negative.
Yeah, no, it's
that's
just
not how any of that.
That's not how any of that works.
Well, in previous editions of this show, we talked a little bit about the mortality data from other causes, right? And there's this excess number of deaths that don't make sense actuarially speaking for certain groups. The theory that I've heard some people say, and this is not medical advice, Susan, so just calm your britches, is that that the vaccines are just, especially with younger men, are just causing too big a response. You give a bunch of this stuff to older people because their immune systems are less aggressive. Because you want a certain level of response, but then when you give that same dose to a 21-year-old athlete who's in peak condition, things don't go so well because their body does the 21-year-old athlete response to it, and you end up with things like myocarditis.
Into overdrive,
and that maybe what they should have done in hindsight was look at maybe having a smaller dose for these people, or maybe looking at the odds and maybe not vaccinating as many of them. I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
Medical testing? Come on.
But we do know that in the actuarial tables, we see more people dying than there should be otherwise. And we don't know where those deaths came from.
And I have not had mine yet. confused.
Well, see,
Like,
I'm old and decrepit. Skep and I are both old and decrepit, so
That's right.
our odds are completely different.
Well,
If you're over the age of 50 at the beginning of this whole thing, I still think it's probably worth getting the jab. But telling people to go out and get Omicron when the new vaccine hasn't been tested all that extensively, it's
negative.
like that one
talk to your
confuses
doctor. Talk to
the
your doctor.
hell out of me.
Yeah.
People, I'm sitting there going, Omicron really isn't doing. You don't understand. I'm like, okay, never mind. And I just, but yeah, no, like I have, it's like a weird litmus test for. People are using it as a weird litmus test for intelligence in a weird roundabout way, and it's kind of like, no, this has nothing to do with nothing, like that. Like just because you get the jab doesn't mean you're smart, and doesn't mean you're stupid either. But it's like everybody kind of needs to take a step back, take a breather, and think about it with a clear head as best you can. That's all I gotta say. Just deep breath. It'll be okay. We'll get through this.
So everything in life is complicated. Who is the smarter person? The person who drives drunk but wears their seatbelt, or the person who's always sober behind the wheel and doesn't?
Yeah.
Life is complicated. I mean, if those are your two choices,
those aren't the two choices, though.
No,
those aren't the two choices.
I'm just saying that there's lots of there's more than one factor. Right?
Yeah.
So if you've got multiple factors, you've got multiple risk factors, and you have to weigh them for a particular person in a particular situation, it's complicated. So if the whole thing, that's the problem with the vaccine. So talk to your doctor.
Please talk to your doctor.
Please talk to your doctor. We are not your doctor. We cannot give you advice about this thing. And hopefully your doctor isn't just a corporate shill who's too scared to actually buck the trend and will give you advice that actually is the same as what they believe.
And no one on YouTube has any right to tell you what to do with your body. I don't care who they are.
Well, I occasionally listen to Dr. Drew Pinsky if he has somebody on who's a reasonable
I like
guest.
Drew. I like
he seems okay. Yeah, and you'll notice that they're very careful. Well, Pinsky takes questions a lot more often, and he's very careful to make sure that he's not giving people medical advice.
Yeah.
You know, he'll say, if I was in your situation, this is what I would do, but you need to talk to your doctor.
Of all the TV doctors, he's really one of the best.
Yeah. I like Dr.
Pinsky or Campbell?
Pinsky.
Yeah, he's pretty decent.
Campbell is just a decent human being. He's a good man.
I think Pinsky's pretty okay.
Yeah, I think Pinsky's okay. I really do. And there are doctors like Mehmet Oz. I think he's a whack job. I think he's a crazy guy.
Yeah.
Well, that's a great contest he's in because it's like a race to the bottom between those two. Are you following this whole Oz versus what's the other guy? His name is Shemp, I think. I can't remember.
Bremer?
Yeah, but he lurch like Lurch. He looks like Lurch after Lurch has had a stroke.
Well, it's like this guy is so freaking like Fetterman. That's what it was.
Fetterman, yes.
But like Fetterman's like. People are talking about his freaking heart attack, and I'm like, no, let's not talk about the heart attack. Let's talk about the fact that he lives 4 hours away from where he's supposed to live for what he represents, and that he talks about green energy and all this kind of stuff, and then has a massive truck that he has shot multiple ads in that is not a hybrid, and he drives from where he is to where. I swear, Run Don't Walk Productions pointed this out. He's like, "What the f?"
He's got these big sooty footprints between his domicile and where his job is,
and he still tries to act like he's green. And it's like, dude, shut up.
It ain't easy being green.
Apparently,
nuclear.
What if he has like a windmill on the back of his truck, and then he uses that to regenerate to his battery power?
Yeah. The windmills of his mind.
Yeah, there's enough breeze in there. Listen to that guy talk makes my IQ drop. Like, I swear to God, like, I can't.
Everyone in here is dumber for having heard that.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
It's Pennsylvania, so we kind of here down in West Virginia kind of have to watch it because it could not directly affect, but it can have some effect, especially on WVU, because so many kids come from Pennsylvania to go to WVU. So we kind of have to watch it a little bit. So this is a fairly interesting kind of thing to watch. On the side of politics, Manchin fucked himself.
People don't realize how just apropos of nothing at all. People don't realize how good a school WVU is. West Virginia University is a damn good academic school.
I just have ingrained hatred for it because I am the southern half of the state and we're Thundering Herd.
Yeah.
So I have to give them the middle finger. But I will beat anybody's ass who out of stater who tries to say WVU sucks, because then I will beat your ass. I'm the only one who gets to make fun of them, not you. Go fuck yourself.
I can never keep track of all these nicknames. What is it? These people, their little catchphrases with like Roll Tide and Thundering Herd and
Thundering Herd's Marshall University. Yeah.
I'm even worse at keeping track of that stuff than I am people's first names.
Yeah, well, that's understandable. You kind of have to be a little ingrained in the football side of it to kind of be into it.
Wasn't Marshall the university that lost its football team or its basketball team in a plane crash?
That was the movie that Matthew McConaughey did.
Oh, We Are Marshall?
Yep, that's me.
That's
I was on campus when they shot that thing.
Wow.
But it's one of those things, like, we kind of have to watch it because there's also a lot of northern West Virginians who think they're from Pennsylvania, like they try to act like they're from Pittsburgh, and it's like, you're not. You country as heck, stop it. But yeah, no, this is
from the big town of Pittsburgh.
Well, to Morgantown people, it is big.
Yeah, I feel it. I hear you.
So, Skep, I've got some more news about your fine state.
Oh boy!
Here's a thing that Elon wants to build, because you may have cement factories and stuff, but do you have any lithium refineries in your state?
We don't have so much lithium. I think what he's detected is that from all the urine of the whining liberals in the Austin area, there's a lot of lithium from the psychotropic pharmaceuticals they take to face their difficult lives every day. Mm-hmm. And there's just substantial amounts of lithium now in the water table, and he sees a way to withdraw that and make battery grade lithium hydroxide. More power to him. It's about time those little turds started working for the good of the state.
Well, I don't think he's mining the stuff, but he's talking about actually doing the refining and the processing in the state, because right now nearly all of it takes place in China. Yeah. And making the supply chain the mining's in South America.
Yeah. No, but there's big refining fields there too, and it's incredibly disgusting. It toxifies the area. It is. I mean, people want to talk about environmental damage. These lithium refining pools are just
it's
ravaging huge parts of the world. I mean, it's something we need. There's a reason why there's none of them in North America, because they're that bad.
Do it on the moon.
Well, you guys had the Sudbury, Ontario nickel smelting plants for a while.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
That was causing a lot of acid rain.
We had nickel plant here too. Yeah, no, they're not fun.
Yeah, but I think this is the fields that you're talking about are where they actually process the lithium ore to make the lithium. He's going to take this ore and now turn it into something you can make batteries out of without having to send it to China. And I think he can probably do this process without destroying the state.
I want to show you the kind of area that you have to get your hands around. This is the kind of area that you find lithium in. If you'll share that.
Sure.
That is a salt flat that has been drilled into, and then they pump what's under the salt flat up into the slurry, and that slurry is full of all kinds of fundamental metals, things like manganese and potassium. It's a potpourri of metals, and then they do standard. There's metal separation techniques to withdraw the the metals that you want.
Yeah, huge settling ponds of nastiness is the stuff.
Here's what I'm talking about. The problem is that when you can't, this is not a situation where you can bring the ore in from outside. You can't bring 100, 300. You can't pump 300 million or even billion gallons of slurry out, and fill tanker ships with it, and then pump that out and refine it. He's not actually going to be able to do much refining there. I don't think he is ever serious about doing any refining there. He's just trying to get the conversation started. I actually think that's what's really going on. I don't think he really has. I think he's about as serious about this as he is about buying Twitter. He just wants to make people look. That's it. I'm seeing that as his MO right now anyway, and it will be until he changes it again.
Only time will tell.
Well, it cost him an awful lot of money when the supply chain screwed up production of Tesla automobiles.
Yep.
And that hits him right in his personal bank account. Not that I think he cares all that much, but he cares a little bit. So if he can reinforce his supply chain, that's great. Now, they may come back and make him some sort of offer. So, you don't need to do that. Here, we'll make this agreement and put guarantees in, and we'll make sure that you don't need to do this. That's totally possible. That's more like a Trump move than a Musk move, honestly.
Yeah.
So did you hear about how Trump got Mar-a-Lago?
He won it in a poker game?
No. Essentially, it was a huge estate that was built by Emily Post using her Post money.
Really?
Yeah, and he wanted to. It was essentially given away as a museum to the state, and the state said, "This is costing us a freaking fortune. We're going to give it back to the family, and then they can do with it what they want." And so they went to sell it, and they wanted more money than Trump was willing to pay for it initially. So Trump, in typical I'm an asshole fashion, bought the beach area in front of Mar-a-Lago and said, you will never see the ocean again after I get through building on it. How about I offer you a lot less money than I did the first time? And they knew that they had lost, and he got it for a pretty good fraction of what he was going to pay before. And that's how he ended up buying Mar-a-Lago.
Plumba y plata.
Kind of a shitty way to go about doing business. He did stuff like that a lot, but he's kind of a tough guy. So, I mean, that would be something that Trump would do. He would threaten to make his own lithium, and then they go, "Oh, okay, don't be so hasty. We'll make you a deal, and we'll put it in writing." So, maybe it is just a ploy.
That's
Musk seems more like the kind of guy who would take the engineering approach. There's a problem with my supply chain. How can I make it so that I don't have to rely on other people and get screwed ever again?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think he's serious, but you know what? If we keep doing this long enough, we'll find out.
Yes, indeed. And I think it's going to be fascinating to watch. I think he is the most interesting figure in public life right now.
Well, it is interesting having an engineer be the richest guy in the world. That's kind of refreshing. We haven't had that in a while. Well, it's always some guy, who's like a Middle Eastern guy with a bunch of oil, or the Queen.
Yeah.
All these different people, right? But not an engineer. I mean, Howard Hughes was famous and powerful, but he wasn't the richest guy in the world. But for the first time ever, the richest guy in the world is an engineer. That's interesting.
Yeah.
You were going to say something, Serenity?
I just said spruce moose.
Oh, yeah, the spruce moose. Get in, Smithers.
That was just my comment, because I love that.
Yeah. So I was okay, YouTube has decided that I'm a pervert. Okay, just
Yes.
newsflash.
Okay.
I was complaining about this with Functional and a few other people. For some strange reason, I started watching a gold mining channel. And so he was like going around gold mining. So then it suggested to me this channel where there's this woman who scuba dives with a metal detector and finds stuff in various places to collect them. And then suddenly YouTube said, oh, Harry watched that, so we're just going to give him nothing but like 15-year-old Swedish women diving 10 years ago in the Olympics. And it's just everything has just they've got me pegged as being just this total pervert. Thanks, Susan. You've got me all figured out. Thanks. So while this was happening, I actually stumbled across this. And, Bob Barker, quite the animal lover. Maybe it was projection. Here we go.
Oh, no.
A new sofa. From Rich, innovative furniture designs, hand-built by master craftsmen. Carefully styled with seating comfort, as luxurious as it looks. Original designs by Rich.
You want a nice bracelet, and that's a mighty nice sofa, because it's $1,473 or $1,864. Have a look. Wait, just a minute. Wait, move back over there. Look at this. Now, let go. Hey, wait a minute. Now, get back over there. Now, wait, this could be something that could be exciting. Let's just see what would it... Come here, Diane. Diane, come back here. Diane, come here. Now, just a minute. Let's just... Now you're having trouble with that, too?
Bob.
What kind of a show is this now? Now, you get over here for just a sec. I just want to see what would happen if you didn't grab your dress. Come here. She's no fun at all.
He's going to get an HR violation for this. I mean, I was just sitting here going, Bob, what the hell are you doing?
It's Bob.
Was he always like this, or did I?
Yes!
Do I just have like rose-colored glasses? Was he always perving on the girls?
Yeah. Like, dude, I watched that as tradition for a certain age group. Whenever I was sick and home from school, I'd watch Price is Right. He was a perv, but he was a funny perv, and that was all that mattered.
Yeah, he does seem to be. I'll just turn the sound off here.
I think he was caught. Like, one of the girls like turned him over to like the union or something like that about hitting on them, if I remember right. At one point
in 1994. Former model Diane Parkinson filed a lawsuit against Barker alleging sexual harassment following a 3-year affair while working on The Price is Right. Parkinson alleged she was extorted by threats of firing, later dropped her lawsuit, claiming stress from the ordeal was damaging her health. In 1995, Holly Hallstrom left The Price is Right, filed suit against Barker for wrongful termination and touching and things like that, following their testimonies in Barker's failed lawsuit. Models Janice Pennington, Kathleen Bradley were fired and later received out-of-court financial settlements. This guy sounds like he's, one of those old Fox News assholes, that was always pawing the help.
Yeah.
And, he's just in that mode, in that mold, and I'm sure he came from the same cultural background that thought that at one point in their lives they believed that kind of behavior was acceptable.
Yeah, you don't predate on the help. That's just not...
it's basic to anyone with decency and morals, Harry, but these people they have power. They don't have decency and morals. The power just steps in and just overlays that stuff.
Well, he's an animal rights activist, so, or isn't he like a vegan or animal rights?
No, he wasn't a vegan. He wasn't a vegan.
I think he was an animal rights guy, but
yes, he was
just to get laid, don't you think?
Well, he always did the spay and neuter thing at the end of the broadcast, and don't forget to get your dog and cat spayed and neutered. Yeah, that's what he always did.
Actually.
Yeah.
Anyway,
but I mean, it's either the saying is don't go after the help, but in reality, most people that are like that. It's don't get caught going after the help. That's the rule.
Never
sadly.
go full Arnold.
Yeah. No kidding.
Jesus. What an idiot. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I actually
all you gotta do is keep it in your pants, boys. That's all you gotta do.
Well,
and
I've been listening to Bill Burr clips fairly
Lord.
often. He is really good at walking the line. He's trying so hard to get canceled and not canceled at the same time. He's a funny dude, but I don't think I should play that stuff here, or we're gonna get ourselves in too much trouble.
Yeah, I think you're asking for trouble.
So that is the show tonight. We are done. We have reached the 2-hour mark. We have survived another
I
discussion.
hope we didn't run it too far off the rails, Harry.
No.
I feel like I was a distraction tonight.
I'm trying to loosen the reins a little bit, so it's a little easier for everybody, including me. So does anybody
there
have
he
anything
goes,
before
treating
we
us
go?
like livestock again.
Yeah.
Cattle prod out.
Yeah, if only I could send you guys an electric shock when you go against the plan.
Oh.
You guys have anything, Skep?
Not a thing. I just want to get well.
Yeah. Serenity?
I'm good.
Functional.
Help control the pet population. Have your pet spayed or neutered. I'm Bob Barker. Good night.
And one final thing about the California heat wave. I got a call from a friend of mine, former business partner, good guy. He did not have hot water in his apartment, and he couldn't figure out why for a while. And then he was trying to troubleshoot the issue, and he realized it was so hot in the utility closet on his balcony, where his water heater is located, that it had reached the target 125 degrees temperature, so it didn't think it needed to heat the water anymore.
Wow.
Oh, no.
And with that, the zoo is closed. Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Bring back